Advisor Hekani Jakhalu pra Friday de Nagaland budget 2024-25 de futuristic, balanced, inclusive aro pro youth matigina Chief Minister Nipirio pra youth empowerment, skill development aro entrepreneurship de commitment thagya kushe. Government pra Nagaland trade, investment and industrial policy 2025 ke manzuri diabi tai kushi janai gina kushe. Ido pra investors kan ke attract kurigina se laga economy ke parabo. Tai pra public financial realities ke bujibi koise aro thik policy banai gina infrastructure de invest kurile economy uthe aro manukange prosper kuriye koise.
Thank you for the time. I rise to take part in the discussion on the budget 2024-25. First of all, I would like to thank the Honorable Chief Minister and the Finance Minister Dr. Nipirio for presenting a statesman-like, futuristic, balanced, inclusive and pro-youth budget. This budget also reflects the Chief Minister's commitment to build capacities of our youth, focusing towards building academic and education excellence. I also take this time to thank him and congratulate him on the improvement of the estimated rupees 62.51 crore in the closing deficit for 24-25, in spite of the heavy financial challenges of the state. The leader of the House, since he became the Chief Minister in 2003, has been known as a youth-friendly Chief Minister, and he continues to do so. Today, in our budget, we can also see some very important initiatives for young people, like the Chief Minister's Microfinance Initiative to support local entrepreneurs, the Nagaland Skill Mission to train and provide employment opportunities to about 5,000 youth in sectors such as hospitality, logistics, tourism, banking and insurance, healthcare, logistics within this financial year. Also adapting to emerging technologies, the government will be launching the drone training and logistics program, the Chief Minister's Fellowship program to nurture future leaders and policy innovators. Honorable Speaker, sir, for any state or nation to progress, develop and prosper, policies for economic growth has to be robust and in place. Everyone is worried about the unemployment problem, but unless the economy of the state is put in place, it will be very difficult for unemployment to be solved. Nagaland undeniably is a land of opportunities. The government and the people have wholeheartedly opened our doors, inviting private investors, private companies to come and do business with us. But for a long time, nothing concrete has actually taken place. Yes, it could be also because of the unresolved Naga political issue. But most importantly, when investors start talking to us, the first thing they asked is, what is Nagaland's industrial policy? And what can the government, what are the incentives that the government can offer? And this is where the discussion comes to a halt. Though it is not mentioned in the budget, I thought it very, very important to thank the Honorable Chief Minister and the Honorable Colleague for the Honorable Cabinet for passing the Nagaland Trade, Investment and Industrial Policy 2025 in the recent Cabinet meeting. And I'm hopeful that this will definitely attract investors and it will also definitely benefit our local entrepreneurs. Many a times when I speak to my constituents and my people, I give a long speech, or rather I sit down and explain to them. The whole purpose being, me as a public for the entire part of my life and being this side of the fence only 2 years back, the question that all the time I would ask myself and public would ask is, government to kile poisa nai. Government never has fund. Government never has enough fund. But after coming this side of the fence, I have been privileged enough to be listening to our leader, our Honorable Chief Minister, and I am slowly beginning to understand government kile paisa na thake. And this is also important because my office tells me that I spend too much time. But if I do not educate my constituents, if we do not educate our constituents, there's going to be a lot of communication gap, there's going to be a lot of suspicion on the government. Now I want to read out some numbers, and this I picked up from the PRS Legislatives report. Some numbers may there will be some variation with the present budget, a little bit, but I had to stick to this report because I wanted to do a little bit of comparative study so that we all understand why it is important. Why is it important that our tax and our non-tax has to improve if our economy has to improve? The revenue receipt for 24-25. So in my understanding, in the past 2 years, I'm beginning to understand that there are 4 components for revenue. One is state's own tax, and number 2 is state's non-tax revenue. Third is the central share, and fourth is the grant. I just want to focus in the first 2, state's own tax revenue and state's non-tax revenue, because this has been mentioned by Honorable Chief Minister in the budget as well in para 45. I'm picking up 2 or 3 states, northeastern states, because it's easier for comparison. Assam. Assam's own state is showing, own tax revenue is showing 34,149 crore, and non-tax revenue is 8,871 crore. Meghalaya, own tax revenue is 4,041 crores. Non-tax revenue is 747. Coming to Nagaland, our own tax revenue is 1787 crores. Non-tax revenue is 464. Out of this, Meghalaya's totaling own tax and non-tax, the total is 4,787 crores, which is about 21%. Assam's total is 43,020 crores, which is about 38% of the total revenue. And Nagaland, according to our budget, it is showing 13%. My calculation, according to the PRS report, shows 2,251. And this is where I want to stop a bit and ponder on it. This morning, we have already had a discussion under Rule 50, exploration of petroleum. When we look at Assam, we're talking about Assam all the time. Now, when we look at Assam, Assam's revenue, like I mentioned, is almost 39% of the total revenue receipt. According to the Economic Survey of Assam 23-24, it states the major component of non-tax revenue is royalty on petroleum crude. Other items in this categories are royalties on coal and gas, receipts from interest and dividends, and forest produce. We have heard from honorable speakers in the morning how much our revenue is going away to our neighboring states. And if you look at all the non-tax revenue in any parts of the state, it is because of the exploration of how much advantage they are taking of their natural resources. Whereas in Nagaland, it's one of the lowest in the country, and it's at 464 according to this report. When we look at the revenue and expenditure, capital expenditure, I'll just talk about Nagaland. According to this report, 16,893 crores is spent on revenue expenditure, that is the pension and salary. And at the end of your debt repayment, loans, etc., we remained with only rupees 2,591, which is approximately only 11% of the total budget, that is towards development. So when my people come, I have to explain this to them. Otherwise, like I mentioned, people are also taking advantage of this miscommunication. people are also taking advantage. The other elements are also, recently, a couple of days back, also, some political party trying to take advantage of the ignorance of our public, accusing the government of misappropriation of funds. And, and as long as this suspicion between the government and the public are there, we will never be able to go forward together. So I want to take two examples of how, when the ecosystem is put in place, government cannot take care of each and every individually, especially in the economic terms. But if the government put the ecosystem in place, everything falls in place, the economy tends to grow. And two examples I want to highlight this evening. Nagaland Startup Policy 2019, which was read out by our Honorable Chief Minister in the budget speech. About 4.5 crore has been sanctioned so far after this policy came into place, with 1.5 crore in the first year, 2021, and subsequently 1 crore each in the past 3 years, and this year also in the budget it's been placed. Today there are 5 incubation centers under Nagaland Startup. Just taking 2 incubation center, it has about 380 startup registered under 2 incubation center. And this 2 incubation center has generated a total revenue of about rupees 58 crore in 1 year, in the year 23-24, and has generated jobs of about 1,000. On a national average, startups usually can generate up to 10 jobs. But here, taking the lower side, assuming one enterprise generates 6 jobs, if we total up, it's coming up to almost 1,000 jobs. The other example, a beautiful handloom and handicraft pavilion has been set up in Kisama, which was inaugurated by the Honorable Chief Minister during the Hornbill. This has been completed in a record time of 4 months with a budget of 15 crore. 10 crore supported by Ministry of Textiles and 5 crore supported by Government of Nagaland. A total of 132 stalls were set up, where products of local artisans, local weavers, food entrepreneurs, and different type of local entrepreneurs set up the stalls. And in 10 days, a revenue generation to the tune of rupees 3 crores 13 lakhs 43,000 was generated in 10 days. The department plans to utilize this facility throughout the year beyond Hornbill as well, and hoping that in 3 years' time, this investment will have a break even. So these are just the 2 examples, small examples, and there's so many other initiatives under Honorable Chief Minister. Different departments are working on it, but I just want to close my sharing by reminding this house, this August House once again, and the government once again, that when we create the right policy, when we create the right ecosystem, when we invest in infrastructure, it supports in raising the state's economy. I can confidently say that all the members here, given different assignments, we are all working very hard to make sure that our state develops and our people prosper. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.